Hey everyone, Dan at Bushcraft. Welcome to another episode of Survival with Nature. And what I want to show you guys today is how to make pet balls from nature. If you don't know, pet balls are usually like a piece of cotton ball saturated with petroleum jelly, hence the name pet, and carried in some kind of a container with you as part of your emergency survival kit. I have those in mine. But if you don't have any or you've used them up, trees like this fir tree here have a lot of pitch in them. And you can find it in pine trees, you can find it in different trees all over here in the West. And I want to show you guys, for example, see these little bumps right here? You can see where some have leaked out already on their own. They've burst, kind of like a pimple really, and they've burst on their own and pitch has run out. Well, each one of those little nodules, those little round bumps, like right here, taking just a pointy stick, and I'm going to poke into that. You guys can see that. See that? That's just pure pitch that just ran out onto my stick right there. That becomes a fire source. So anything that you got with you that will hold a flame, a piece of your shirt, if it's made of cotton, is a great thing. If you have some toilet paper with you, most first aid kits, and hopefully you have one in your survival kit, have these gauze pads. I have one right here, a 2-inch by 2-inch gauze pad. I can use this pad to start soaking up pitch. See that? So I will go around and I will pop. So I want to make sure you guys can see. There's one right there. See that? And I will begin to open some of these little, oh, that one was really good. Yeah, see that? I will open some of those and then using my stick to get it out, maybe even soaking some right into the gauze, patting the tree down. And I will just work at that. I'm not going to try to damage the tree too much. I'm just going to pop a few of these little bubbles, get that pitch out. There's a nice gob right there. And let it soak into this cotton pad, and it's going to act like petroleum jelly and sustain the flame. So when we spark this, we will have a pet ball. So let me get a little bit more in here, and then I'll show you guys another alternative using strictly what nature provides. Okay, maybe you don't have anything with you. You're wearing wool or something that's not going to catch a spark real well. You don't have a first aid kit, whatever. As long as you got your ferro rod or flint and steel or something that you can spark. The trees out here, pine, fir, everything, right now are covered with old man's beard. That's the moss. We nickname it old man's beard. And the trees, it's hanging off the side of the trees. Here's some right here. And it's hanging down from these boughs. Here's a piece hanging right here off this bough. So I'm going to gather up, and I've already done it, a handful of this dried moss, old man's beard. You've seen me use this in another video, at least one, maybe more. And I'm going to tear up the fibers and open them up a little bit so they'll catch a spark easier. And then, same thing, using my sharp stick, I'm going to open up some of these little bubbles. There's one right here. And do the exact same thing. And this time I'm going to put the pitch down here. Oh, see that? I'm going to put the pitch in the old man's beard. So this will catch sparks, but it's only going to burn for a few seconds. And I'm going to put some pitch in here. In fact, I'm even going to take this dried piece on the side of the tree, and I'm going to kind of rub it down in here a little bit. And I'm going to pop few of these bubbles. That one right there, I just popped it, and I'm going to work that pitch into some of these fibers, and I am going to make a pet ball. Now, if I had any kind of a little container or baggie or something with me, I could just work this down into a bunch of this, make some small ones or one big one, and keep it with me as I travel. And I would have, did I say homemade pet balls? We're going to say nature-made pet balls. If I said homemade pet balls, I did not mean that. They are made right here in nature. Nature is providing everything I need. Oh yeah, that one gave me a nice shot there. So I'm going to work some more into this, guys, and then we'll take this and we'll take our gauze pad over and we'll try them out. Okay, first we got our gauze pad. So I needed to get a fire going out here, and whatever the situation, I didn't have anything with me that would hold a flame. So I took a gauze pad out of my first aid kit and I've saturated it with pitch from those little bubbles on the side of that fir tree. Now I'm going to take some of these fibers off of this gauze pad so I can fluff them up so that they'll catch the spark. Okay, so there's my pitch. You can see it all right in there. And I'm going to fluff up some of these fibers and set them here where they will catch a spark. Get a few more off there. Okay, so they should catch a spark, and then that'll ignite the pad, and the pad's going to hold a flame for a while because of that pitch that's in there. And if I need to, I can put some shavings off my ferro rod in there too. There we go. So that caught the fibers, and now it is burning into that pitch. So it's burning right now where all that pitch is rubbed in. So that gives me a flame plenty long enough. If I have some material, some fine shavings, scrapings, curls, whatever here, that gives me a sustained flame to get my fire going. Nature provided the petroleum for you, if you will. Okay, let's take it now to nature providing the entire pet ball. So we'll get rid of this, get it down here and get it out. Oh, that thing just wants to keep burning. There we go. Okay, so this time I have the old man's beard, and if you can see right there, I have just a bunch of that pitch saturated into the fibers. And so this is going to take a spark. Sometimes you got to work these a little bit to get a spark. But once that ignites, all that pitch right there is going to sustain this flame long enough to get me a fire going. There we go. So right there, it's right in where all that pitch is. So that's sustaining a flame. Instead of burning up this really, really quick in just a few seconds, the pitch, I can see it, is bubbling right now. It's just sitting there and bubbling, and it's giving me a sustained flame. So I have made a pet ball 100% from what nature provided. Old man's beard, which is just dried moss. Anything that's dry, lichen, moss, even dried grasses. You can take dried grasses, like I'm pulling up right here out of the ground, and you can drip pitch, pine resin, fir resin, whatever, right into this grass so that it won't burn up right away, and it'll sustain a flame, and that'll take a spark, and that'll burn. So anything out here that you can find to soak up that resin with. And again, we use the bubbles on a fir tree. The pine works just as well. And we have pet balls from nature. And again, If that's all you had, you have a Ziploc bag, a container of any sort, you can make up several of these, soak up the pitch in them, and carry them with you. Same thing if you want to use cotton balls, gauze pads, or something from your first aid kit, or a piece of your clothing. If you have a cotton shirt, you can tear a piece of your shirt, soak up that pitch, and make some little pieces, carry it with you, and you have a fire source that you can keep using out here, and nature is providing that source. And it's here all year round. You know, the pitch is in these trees, the resin is in these trees year round. And although it might be harder in the wet season, you get up underneath trees, underneath logs, underneath pieces of bark, and you can find some dry materials to soak up that resin with. All right. All right, I hope you guys like that little tip. Again, the reason I'm doing this series, Survival with Nature, is to show you guys just different ways that you can take what you might have with you. You know, hopefully you entered into the woods with at least some things in your pockets, if nothing else. You know, I always have a ferro rod in one pocket, a Swiss Army knife in the other pocket, and some pet balls. And so I've got fire, I've got a tool with me. Hopefully you have some kind of basic survival kit. But this series is about taking what you may have with you and combining it with things from nature to get fire, to get shelter, to get things to get you through. And worst case scenario, like we did today, nature itself with Old Man's Beard and pine pitch provided the pet balls we needed for fire. Dan at Bushcraft, hope you guys are enjoying this. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please hit the subscribe button and share it with others, guys. Take care, everyone.